Good day, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Luisi Toriso. I'm an LLB student here at Nelson Mandela University, currently doing my third year, and I have been invited to partake in this segment where we'll be talking about the experiences of online learning. As they always say that experience is the important teacher of all. So we're all here to share our views and our strategies that we employed in order to carry out online learning last year. So I would like everyone to introduce who they are and what they're studying.
Okay, my name is Takuto Musukutwa. I'm from Zimbabwe, currently studying electrical engineering second year.
I'm Elizabeth Bomani. I am doing honors in psychology and I'm from Zimbabwe.
Hi, I'm Olga Kanku. I'm from Namibia. I just completed the highest certificate in mechatronics engineering and now I'm going on to the degree.
I'm Dozo Malibe. I am doing my third year in electrical engineering and I am South African.
Thank you very much, ladies, for the brief introduction of yourself. So, can we get to this? Can you please maybe perhaps share what were your expectations of university, like at general, and what were your expectations when we were confronted by the uncertainties of COVID-19 and online learning?
From the movies compared to here in real life, it is different. The movies do not really express to the people how it's like living in university and all that. So it was kind of like a 180 turn.
Yeah, I agree with OG. Like, from the movies we've been watching, we expect it to be, a fairy tale. Yeah. You come and it's so nice, you just have lectures, it's all chilled, with Prince Charming and everything, but it's not like that. Yeah. The pressure is a lot. You have to be focused, and especially when online learning started, it was hard.
I agree. Sometimes you actually wonder, like, when they make the movies, you're like, where do you get all this time?
Right?
To party,
Sure.
I'm here 24/7 wondering, have I gotten everything correctly? Like, are my marks okay? Did I finish the assignment? So, it's kind of different.
Oh, okay, guys. Your experiences sound very, very nice. So, as I asked, it was 2 in 1. Mm-hmm. So, like, what were your experiences when they announced that we're going to salvage the 2020 academic year online? Like, what were your expectations?
Well, I was in a high school that was already doing most of their things online, just that our textbooks were online, but we still had classes and stuff. So I didn't think it was going to be much different from that. But when you include the pressure of varsity, the workload of varsity, it was very, very.
Yeah, well, personally, I also had a difficult time transitioning from, face-to-face lectures to online learning because, I think first we all thought, oh, it's chilled because, you wouldn't really have to be in the Teams meeting. No one would come and be like, oh, you didn't join the meeting. It was just, you do whatever you want. But then when the tests came, when the tests and exams started coming, that's when you realize that, oh, I didn't attend and I don't know anything, and so much work was piling. And that's when it taught me to be disciplined and to attend online lectures.
My experience was weird because you know how you're used to going to class, and even if you get into the wrong building, you're always close to the classroom. You'll get into the wrong Teams meeting and maybe it's the 5 of you there and there's no lecture. You stay there for about 30 minutes not realizing that the lecture is in another Teams meeting. So it was a bit rocky and rough.
Oh, yeah, guys. My experiences, I was expecting more out of it, and I was just so concerned about the method that they're going to use to assess us. Because we literally have the books open. So I was really curious about what will happen there. To only find that, online learning, doesn't only, provide you with the challenges, but it also, enhance your learning opportunities. And for us, we were tested with problem-based scenarios, which is not what we usually tested when we go to like an actual exam venue and write. So in those venues, they would literally ask you some mostly theory questions. So with online learning, I feel like it prepares us for workplace and on how to handle challenges. So guys, like, what can you say were the most common challenges among students in terms of online learning, like ranging from accessibility, adaptability, because those are the questions that comes in mind when we talk about online learning.
Okay, I think there was a problem of like people didn't know what to do because like we're not all computer literate, right? So then many people were struggling because they didn't know what to do. Where should I go? How do I join teams and everything? And a lot of people fell behind because they didn't know what was going on, and it took them a while to like catch up. So that was hard.
I completely agree, and in my personal experience, it made me a bit lazy. It also reflects in my marks. At first, I was very hands-on. I attended everything on time. My marks were good, and then I started slacking, sleeping through the lessons, watching them a bit later. Tests, you just open your book in the middle of the test and write. So I feel like it kind of made me a bit lazy. But then what you said about the testing is very true. The lecturers did work more specific or selective of what they would ask because they know that you are able to open your book at any time. So they had to ask more difficult questions to see if you really understand the topic.
Like for me in the beginning, I actually enjoyed the online learning because things were pretty relaxed and everyone was getting comfortable and there wasn't really a lot of pressure. But then after about 3 weeks, that's when the pressure started coming. Like the lecturers just started bombarding us with work and assignments and tests, and then it got really overwhelming and super stressful, and I became very demotivated. I started procrastinating. Procrastination gets the best of you. But with time, I feel like if once you pass that honeymoon phase and then that challenging phase, after that you're like, nah, I can do this, like I got this.
To me, the most challenging thing was connectivity. That was the main issue because without, adequate connectivity, you cannot partake in online learning. So that was the main concern, and that ultimately affects our right to a basic education, because that constitutional right, there has to be some level of enforceability, and without the adequate means and resources, it means that right was just going to be futile, you see. So but we've seen the university taking initiative, distributing laptops to students, doing the blended pathway learning methods in order to encourage everyone to take part. So what would you say were like your most conducive tips or tricks that you employed in order to keep your online learning effective?
Mainly time management. Already when we were still doing face-to-face learning, people used to procrastinate. So if it was online, it was much easier to procrastinate. So just manage your time. I personally preferred online learning because I listen or I retain information better by listening and seeing the person as they're explaining, seeing the emotions that they face. So I prefer listening to the lectures over, like whenever, I'll be cooking and just listen to the lecturer so I can hear what he's saying and try to retain the voice, the information. So that's good.
I think also having a routine that is flexible, because now we're working from home, we're learning from home, and you have duties and goals as a child or as a parent, so having a flexible routine that you are actually able to continue with for the rest of the semester is good. And with that routine, I think it's best if you start with the least thing that you like to do, and then at the end of the day, you do the things that you like the most, because those things that you don't like to do, at least they are off the list for the day or for the week.
What really helped me was working with my classmates. Right? We would check up on each other, would constantly check, have you done this, have you submitted that? Yeah, I would say like you need to familiarize yourself with your classmates and people you're doing the same modules with, because it really helps, to know that you're not alone and you can exchange information.
For me, I had quite a number of self-care days, just days where I take, to focus on myself and to take care of myself and make sure my mental health is in check, because mental health is very important, especially during this time, because you're alone, you have to be studying, you have so much work. So I used to take time to just analyze myself and make sure I'm good before I carry on with another task.
To me, it was just a matter of, after the Teams meetings, they would record them and upload them on Moodle. So I would literally reserve time to go back and listen attentively, take down notes. And in terms of how our assessments was carried out, so I used to, prepare a set of notes, like model answers. I know it's not a good way to go about it. They'll kill me if they hear this. But I'll do model answers, and then when I get to the exams, because I know that I'm very slow with typing, so I'll just copy and paste my model answers and start working on them from that point. So adequate preparing of good notes. I'm not saying go there, copy and paste, because there are obviously copyright infringement. Make your own notes prior to the test and have them ready by your side when you attempt tests. So now the next question, guys, it's the tools that you used in order to carry out online learning. Were they effective or something like that? The tools that you used for online learning.
The tools that I used. Well, I believe the tools that I used were quite effective, because I used the material that I was given. And I focused on that because I knew that was what they were going to ask me on. So I focused on that and asking for help as well. From your lecturers, you need to bother them sometimes. Email them even 5 times a day. So they need to know that I need help and all that. Yeah.
And I think teamwork as well. Being able to work with each other, in your course, work well with others, share information, don't be stingy with information. Because sometimes you also need help from other people, and they're not gonna be able to, help you as well. So
the tools that I used were actually great. I remember I actually downloaded an app whereby you set a study time. So for 30 minutes, I would study. Then when 30 minutes was done, time up, and then I'll have a 5-minute break. So that, whereby you have a break each time you study, and then you also record the time you study, helps you to be able to relax and, continue with the zeal to study.
I found this time very helpful to, find more helpful tools. There was so many tools I didn't know that would help for report writing, for finding information, for summarize. There's so much out there that I don't think I would have discovered if it weren't for online learning. So that helped a lot, and I just tried to keep as much of the normalcy as possible. So I tried to still make notes in notepads and stuff rather than typing, just to still have that sense of this is what I used to do, let me just continue doing it, just so it's not too much of a diversion from what we used to do.
As for me, I'm an old school person, so I prefer hard copy material to study with. So that was the challenge, because I was at home, there was no library for me to access the materials and everything. Hence, I had to adapt and start using the library databases in order to request ebooks for loans and I also liaised with my other friends from other institutions. We were exchanging question banks, and that was really helpful for online learning. Yeah, so this one last question that I would like to ask you guys is, like, can you critically comment on the degree? Like, let's say for people who graduated online and for those who graduated before the COVID, before online learning. So how would you weigh, like, do you think, for example, in an LLB that I completed online, would it be the same, the value of the LLB of the one that I would have obtained, maybe go through content lessons for the rest of the qualification?
I don't think it's the same because, like you said previously, you know how they were now using scenarios to actually question these things. So with proper examination, sometimes it's just definitions and what's in the textbook. But now I know at my degree it was, so-and-so has this type of sickness, and then they were showing these types of symptoms. What type of, how would you diagnose them? Those are the type of questions that we had. And it is more confusing because most of the answers are the same. So scenario-based questions actually, I think, us as online learning students, I think our degrees are somehow a bit better and difficult because it's not just book knowledge, it's now actually application of what we have read.
Okay, but I think that for more like theory-based degrees, it could be more or less the same. But then for practical-based degrees, I think it's different because like before Corona, right? People could go, to the hospital, do your practical, go to the workshop, but then now people weren't able to do that. And I think that's very disadvantageous to people. So it's not the same. Like, you don't really understand the practical side more as those who finished their degree before Corona.
Yeah, just to add on, being an engineering student, I feel like if engineering is a field that requires like on work and practical stuff. So having to do some of those practicals online was kind of weird, and it didn't feel like I was getting it done. So yeah, it did kind of put engineering students and others that are more on the field work at a bit of a disadvantage because we're not sure like how we should go about things.
That's really true. Like the issue of whether the qualification is more of practical or it's more of theory.
Yeah.
Because for law students, for example, I'm talking on behalf of the law students. I mean, there we were expecting, in the coming future, in the coming maybe 5 years or so, in order for court proceedings to be conducted online, not for you to rock up with a big suitcase and, everything to be done digital. So it was something that we were really expecting, and yeah, it will just enhance on, yeah. So thank you very much guys for your contributions.
Yeah, thank you for having us.